Welcome to the podcast of School Beyond Limitations. In this podcast, you will learn how to guide your child through their school life with the intention to help them find their unique essence that will allow your daughter, your son to live a fulfilled and meaningful life.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our 11th episode of this show. And once again, it's me, Nayeef and Martina Geromin here with us. Today, we'll be discussing about change making. Currently, there are several occurrences, many occurrences happening around us. Every little thing is impacting our lives, either in the good way or in a bad way. And there are always a room for improvement and room for changing things up to make it a little better. So, Martina, would you like to start?
Thank you, Nayeef. Yes, change making. I mean, if we are listening to the news, of course, sometimes you feel nothing really is changing and we don't learn from our previous, I don't want to even call them mistakes, but sometimes we need to call them mistakes, right? When we harm people. And yet I think change making just starts with oneself, always oneself, and with the impact of our own attitude towards life. What if we actually based everything on mindful choices, on being aware of the impact of my own action and reaction towards myself and others? And if everything is based on that, then I think then we are on a good trajectory, because we see that we have a gift, and we have also a responsibility. The gift is that we bring what is innate in us, our sense, our own why, into the society, and bring something, create something, basically, because it's a creative source that lies within us. And if we follow the why, then we feel it, and there is enthusiasm, passion, joy in what we are doing. And if we follow that why, then we go in that direction. And at the same time, we do it on the basis of what brings something positive also to the outer world as well. And if we base everything on that, I think we have a good foundation to move forward. And with that, we need to start from the very beginning. We need to start basically from when we are born. Parents start with this kind of attitude, because we have been influenced and conditioned so much by lots of different points of view, right, and perspectives, and whether we call them philosophies or religions or whatever, this has an impact on us, on our upbringing and how we view the world. But what if we understood that this is just a perspective, one perspective? What if we understood that in the first place, we really are invited to extrapolate what makes us tick within and bring that to the world, and we bring this joy then to ourselves and to others, because there is never any harm in there. And we move away from this competitive kind towards others, competitive kind of energy. I need to be bigger, I need to have more than others. It's more than based on, yes, I create abundance through my gifts, but that abundance is for myself and also for others. But that we understand that there is an energy, this energy of creativity. The creative energy is basically a very powerful energy. And that's why we need to start, as I said before, with education, parents, school, and then society. And it will take generations, most likely to change, to really change a big time. But we can make the change in small little environments, and the small little environments will eventually have an effect on others. And I think it's not utopia what I'm talking about. This is a possibility, and we can choose every day anew whether we want to go in that direction or whether we want to go in another direction, and that starts most likely also with the fact, do we want, of course we need to be informed what's going on out there, but do we want to buy into the story, the reality that has been created that took us to suffering constantly? Or do we want to create a reality that is based on, shared understanding and bringing something special into this reality, into life?
Oh, absolutely. And to have that shared understanding, I think we as individuals need to feel we belong. This belongingness is very, very important. It's the key to make us feel like we do have a purpose in the society and to work and function as a whole society. We are not just individuals out of the box living our own life, but everything we do does affect and impact people, just like a butterfly effect. So we have to be always mindful. And to be mindful about things, we have to be involved with our society, be involved with everything that's happening, be involved with stories and perspectives and people and gatherings and engagements, because these are all the things that gives us the understanding of where people or beliefs or as you stated, religions and philosophy and people's lifestyle are made out of, you know. And if we do not have a clear understanding of the differences of societies and cultures and traditions and religions and philosophies, it's really hard to coexist, because then we are having only one sense of understanding which we're constantly pushing on others, because we are comfortable in that and that only. We are limiting ourselves to be open and to have the best shared views to bring into one common ground and function together. I think this is falling us behind as human beings and as mankind. And once that notion is not understood properly, it leads to conflicts. It leads to people always wanting more power because they want to push their agendas, they want to push their beliefs on others. And this not only divides people into categories and groups, but it makes people angry. It gives them no hope to live and function the way they are with the background that they come from. Their belongingness becomes different to the people who are in rule or who are in the chair of authority. Let's quote it. So I think how do we make it better? As you said, it starts from a smaller group. It starts from one, I would say, and then you always have to be constantly in the fight of, spreading it to people, not pushing it, but preaching. It's an excellent word, the word preaching. It's not only for religion, but it's about the message that we bring, and it's about filling everyone in and working together. I think once again, we have mentioned this word several times in our previous episodes as well. The word unity is the key element for us mankind to survive now, because the world that we are living in now, it's a question of survival. People are constantly losing hope. They're losing, in a bigger picture, they're losing themselves, not only as spiritually or soul wise, but the being themselves. And how can we recover from this? We have to understand our purpose, and our purpose is not something that we are born with. It's something that we design as we go along the way, and this our design of purpose will serve the greater good once it's been seeded well enough from a very young age, from childhood, and it starts from parenting, it starts from schools, it starts from our um, the way we raise ourselves or we're being raised. So we have to be very mindful on that.
I would like to say something about what you just said about the purpose, is we are not born with purpose. I'm not sure about that, because I'm actually a believer. And again, it's a belief, it's my belief, my perspective. And also the word preaching, you said preaching is important. Maybe I would not necessarily say preaching. It's more about going with what you feel is holding you up, and it's energetically holding you up, and then we act in a different way anyways, and that acting of in a different way and talking in a different way and also then feeling in a different way, that attracts then other people maybe towards this kind of understanding of the world, and I firmly believe that if we purpose as something that is already innately in us, that there is an essence that is innately in us that will be discovered, as you rightly say, by going along all the experiences in our lives, and we feel where we are in the flow, we always talk about being in the flow modality, and when one is in the flow modality, and then then you feel this is where you don't feel like you are stopped by anything, even if there are challenges coming up. I would just like to bring an example. I'm currently in the Italy home of the SPL, and we have our first cohort here with just a students, but very close by to a barkeeper who is 101 years old soon. So she's 101 years old. What is spectacular about her? It's not her age. Of course, also her age. But she is still working on a daily basis from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. in the winter and to 7 p.m. in the summer, 365 days per year. She has never left her village. And yesterday we went with our students to meet her because I want to take all our students to that place that they see, feel what it means to be, an amazing, an example, role model for the world. So what she said also yesterday, I met her already a number of times, but imagine she never went on vacation, never. She was a widow very early with 2 children and nobody looking after them. And she had to deal with life. She had a bar. She had that bar together with her husband. But then as he, passed away, and she was only young, and the children were still very young as well. And she kept going anyways. She kept going because she said, I want to go. And as a child, she was dreaming of traveling the world. And she said, okay, I didn't have a choice at the time, but my choice was not to give up. My choice was to stay in and to keep being positive and to lead my life. And leading my life was take the challenge. I do it by myself. She did it every day, and I'm saying every day, no vacation. That's close to the Lake Maggiore, Lago Maggiore in Italy. She sees it, but she hasn't, 4 kilometers away or 5 kilometers away from where she lives. She has never been there physically. And she now says, you know what? I dreamt as a child to travel the world. And I always dreamt of that. Do I have regrets about my life now because I worked every day in a bar alone, and now also her children help her and her grandchildren as well? No, I don't have any regrets. Why? She said, I don't have any regrets because the world is coming to me. People, now she's kind of famous, right? Through Instagram, social media, but also through articles. She's been in so many different, she's been featured in so many different newspapers and magazines and also TV shows and stuff like that, that people are just coming to see her. And she was telling us yesterday, also students, they were kind of it was mind blowing. They were blown away by what she was saying, because she said, I know a young man from Japan came all the way to see me because his grandmother passed away and he heard about her and how she approached her life. So he came all the way from Japan, came by car, rented a car, and was there too early, slept in the car, just so that he was able to experience how she opens her bar. And he left, a nice message in her guest book. And she said, I mean, she's agile, but she doesn't look like 101. She has an amazing posture. She is very, alive in her mind. She does all the calculations by herself. She serves the people. This is what I'm saying. This is the attitude, the choice. So one feature of a change maker, she hasn't changed the world for everyone, but she's changing the world now for so many people because they go there and get inspired by her life story. She hasn't been in Vietnam, in Bangladesh, in Australia. She hasn't even been in Milan, although it's not that far away. But she doesn't complain. So she chose to go with the flow of life, and she made the best out of it. And she didn't complain because she said, what is, I mean, I'm so blessed, she said. I'm so blessed. And now traveling means to me that people travel to me, so it's a perspective, it's a shift of perspective. It's a shift of how I view life every day. And if every person takes this on board, I think, and if we are all aware of this is possible and there is purpose, and her purpose is to bring this joy to people. It's not just about serving people their coffee or their two cakes, because she prepares two cakes every day, always the same, you know. But it's her. So there is energy. She's an energetic attraction for people. And I think it's not about so much about preaching. It's about doing it and not giving up and not complaining and taking each moment as a new opportunity to say, let's move forward. Let's see where, without complaining. I can talk about, of course, sometimes she also says it wasn't always easy. Of course not. But I have the choice to do this or that. So this is, I think, a key feature of a change maker, of a transformation in life for oneself, but also for others, that I say I have the choice, and I need to help children and teenagers to see that you always have a choice. And if I have a choice and ask, we had an amazing professional development day last Friday with strategic mentors, the two Bowmans from Australia. And they also said it's about choosing all the time and asking questions, asking different questions. Oh, interesting. And what does this situation tell me now? What shall I do now? It's different than complaining. It's always going in the modality of, yeah, of where can I transform myself within. And it's not the big transformations in the sense, from within, so that we stand clear and, and steady. And then it's beautiful, and then change happens.
I completely agree with you. And before I continue from here, I just want to say to everyone who's watching, you can find stunning and inspiring stories like these on our YouTube and Facebook and social media. So do keep your eye on that and follow, because every now and then you'll see posts like these which are really inspiring. And this is a stunning story, honestly. And I think we're not that far away from each other. I think it's the wordings that we're choosing to use. I mean, we're kind of on the similar path. What I meant was, well, with preaching was that, you just mentioned people shared her story. People were, using articles and newsletters to show people and to let people know, like, this is happening. Of course, our lifestyle, our beliefs reflects and it influences people. It moves people. Her story is really moving people, and they can connect with the way we live, with the things that we behold within ourselves, and that energy that we carry does somehow spread out. But for people And SBL is doing the same thing, you know. SBL holds a very, very important core value, and all these values helps shape people. I mean, that's the purpose of SBL, is to inspire youths and then let them know who they are. Now, this message needs to be spread out. It needs to preach to people, like reach people that, hey, this is something that's happening, and this could be a right fit for your children to be, you know, growing in a very safe environment. And I think the purpose of life for every single human being is similar, is to contribute to the world and just being present and constantly trying to be better. But the journey, it's versatile. The journey is very different, and that journey can only be discovered. It's not something that's predetermined, and that every journey, shapes us, and the journey is shaped by our background, by our raising, by our, you know, beliefs and the environment. And for us to have a safe journey, and for us to have a journey with focus and a journey with certainty that, this is what I'm reaching for, we need to have a good environment to be built, a safe environment to be built, because I mean, someone sitting in the middle of Milan who's dreaming of all the big things to be achieved in life, I think there's somewhat of the environment that kind of supports them because of the way it's designed and shaped. It's the reality is not the same for someone, from, I don't know, from Sudan or from somewhere from a third world nation, because it's going to be very different. But of course, the lady never lost hope. That lady never complained or blamed anyone. It was just the life, and she kept unfolding it every single day. And that consistency of constantly trying to deal with life is it's something that we all have to learn, and that makes us eventually better. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and there's one feature maybe that we want to also, in addition, bring in, and this is this, and all religions talk about it and philosophies talk about it, it's about the understanding that first you need to appreciate yourself. There needs to be the appreciation for the gift that each and every one of us are. If we appreciate ourselves, then we also are able to appreciate others.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
If
I mean,
we belittle ourselves, then we are in this judgmental mind and comparative mind all the time, and that's again something that we have been, conditioned by. We have to do this and that, and we don't see. We are constantly, exposed to messages of, are you looking well enough? Are you tall enough? Are you thin enough? Are you thick in, are you intelligent enough? And if we just looked at each and every one of us, yeah, but we started from ourselves. We are a divine being. And then, we are just beautiful the way we are. And we have to take care of ourselves. And that means going out, doing physical exercise, seeing oneself as the temple on earth. And then if we do that, and if we connect well with ourselves, we are also very, very capable of connecting with others. And that's also a key feature, I think, for change. Because the power games often are not based on features of appreciation of oneself and others at
Yeah,
the
I mean,
same.
Martina, I honestly think this notion can be understood only if we're not distracted. Human beings today are really distracted. They don't focus on the things that actually matters. It's rather focusing on things which gives us a status according to the societies we build. I mean, who cares if I own a phone or not? I mean, you, Martina, sitting in Milan, in Rome, wherever you are, if you eat something of a good portion, it's going to fill your tummy. If I eat something different, it's still going to fill my tummy. I can't eat more than I want. I can't eat more than my body supports. So what it means that we are all one. We share the same stage. We share the same lands. We share the same anatomy. I don't really get the point of having access to excess stuffs, I mean, that's only a burden to us. And I don't really know where it gets people, honestly.
Mm.
Because if I'm saying that I'm no different to you, then what I should be really focusing on is how we live our life rather than what we are having materialistically speaking, because that's much more sustainable than having something that is disposable.
Yeah, I would say there is no, I think there's space for everything. You just said there is unity. In many ways, we are very similar, all of us, we are aiming for the same things, but there is also diversity. And I mean, if the accumulation of riches is just power driven, then I think it's not necessarily the way forward. But if it's driven by, the love for creation and then creating something for oneself and others further, then it's a good way forward. I mean, we should not, I think there are no limitations. We don't even, take all the possibilities that are out there. And looking at what is happening in reality is important. Of course, it's important, but we need to do like this Nonna Anna. She's called Nonna Anna. Make the difference in your little four walls, and then see how this can impact other people, and then keep the energy high. I think it's important to keeping the energy high all the time, because energetically we can do so much. And that doesn't mean that we don't encounter sometimes some difficulties. But what about if we didn't even judge that difficulties are bad or good? If we just said, okay, how can I choose in this moment? What can I choose in this specific moment of time? Do I choose complaints, or do I choose frustration? Of course, can be sometimes frustrated, but then, like the lady said, Anna said, yeah, I for me there was no other choice than moving forward, for the sake of my children, for the sake of myself. And by doing this, I realized that I started loving it even more and more. And now I mean, she could retire, couldn't she? She could say no. And she said yesterday, I asked her, why don't you take some time off? And she said, no, that's my calling. I'm missing something. And maybe she's right. She chooses every day in the morning to do this. And that's beautiful. I'm not saying everyone needs to do the same thing, but the choice of saying, I'm doing this because this keeps me alive, this keeps me being in the flow, that's so powerful. That's so powerful. And she's reading the newspapers. She said, oh, I see, but here I'm master of myself and of others.
No, honestly, yeah. I mean, time passes by. Humans will eventually. I mean, there's a beginning and there's an ending to it. So, I think constantly, keeping yourself active is actually what's going to keep you alive. I mean, we talk about physicality, we talk about exercises and wellness and fitness and all that, but if your soul is not alive, eventually you'll not function well.
I
The
think
only thing
that's
that
the
people,
right thing. Yeah,
mm,
I think, Naif, this is something that I would like to really emphasize. It's really nurturing the soul, connecting with soul work as well, with inner work as well. Then it's just on the surface, and it needs to be deep on a deeper level. If we have,
keep your soul alive, keep moving, and keep doing things you love. Leaving to that, let's hope for a better world, and we'll see you next week, hopefully.
well, we create our better world, and we create our reality where we are, shall we, Naive? And
We
at
shall.
SPL we do that, yeah. And together with you, we do that. Okay, thank you. At School Beyond Limitations, we support our students find their unique essence. Feel free to share the content of this podcast with other parents. We are here to show that your children can indeed bring their unique essence into life. So, Reach out to us if you think that this is what you'd like your daughter, your son to experience, or apply through our website. Also, leave your comments, your questions, or your review about the podcast. Share it with others. And as you know, sharing is caring.